Cutting scale guys, Nexas here, and welcome back to Destiny 2. And in today's video guys, we are here with, of course, some freaking brand new goodness to go over. None of this into the light. We had a stream, of course, from Bungie today on reset, kind of discussing what the new update's going to be. But with the Tuesday reset, of course, means we get a brand new nightfall reward to obtain, and it's going to be the brand new sword that is in the game called the Slammer. Now, of course, there is GMs open and everything, so this will be adept. You can see already I have the adept version. The Slammer itself, though, this sword, it's basically like the Fallen Guillotine. It legit is the Fallen Guillotine, let's be real. I mean, Fallen Guillotine without this freaking ornament is the exact same freaking weapon. So yeah, it's basically the Fallen Guillotine that has come back with, of course, a ton of new rolls, though. And the Slammer itself, this thing, it is pretty juicy, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to rolls, it's got some banger freaking rolls going for, which you will see on the screen, of course. So you can get things like, of course, Relentless Strikes. You can get Eager Edge. And guys, you gotta really notice that this is a vortex frame, meaning that it's spin to win. This was the freaking big ass spin that the Dark Drinker used to do before. So this is an Eager Edge spin. So when you freaking switch to Eager Edge and just freaking send it at someone, it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be basically like a Beyblade. It will, of course, have rolls like Chain Reaction, though, of course, which is really, really dope. It will have things like the Cold Steel, because this is Stasis too, so it will have that Cold Steel going for it. Really, really interesting that it will have Bait and Switch as well, which is the role I have. Bait and Switch is gonna be really nutty on this, like an extra, what, 25? I know it's getting nerfed, but it's going to be a massive increase in damage and everything for a sword, which is going to be really dope, especially for sometimes with swords are just like the meta sort of pick. Be able to get, of course, the adept mods and everything on it. You can stick on the big ones. You got adept mag. You can see adept impact. You can stick on a load of things. I'm kind of surprised. I can't see anything else increasing here from the masterwork. I mean, maybe it's because it's the sword or something. I have no idea. But the Slammer itself, this should be really, really cool in some PvE and everything. I could try PvP, but it is a sword, so it's just like a vortex frame. I might as well just go in with it in PvE showcase. Just how good the chain reaction, of course, the bait and switch will be. So without further ado, let's go to some PvE with, of course, the Slammer sword. Before we get into it, though, I will actually just say it's a pretty slick looking weapon. I actually do love the aesthetic. And if you try on anything that kind of moves, like these sorts of, what's it called, shaders and everything, you can see it can just start to glow and everything. It is so freaking nice. I'm telling you, this thing looks so dope. Alrighty, so we are, of course, going to be on freaking the Nightfall. This is going to be the Corrupted Strike, and this is what our sword is going to be like. And of course, I'm going to be using things like Banner of War and everything just to kind of augment myself a little bit in terms of survivability and everything like that. But if I get things like this going and then I use the sword, you can get the bait and switch kind of going. Now, it is, you can see on the left, going right now, so I get that extra bit of damage with Banner of War. It's just going to be kind of insane what you can do with this sort of weapon. Of course, Titans is going to work out the best, obviously, just because of mods and everything like that. And of course, Banner of War and everything, I kind of understand that. But what I will definitely still say is that it's still a really sort of unique sword to pick up, especially because this is going to be adept and everything. And it's going to be a sword that is going to, of course, have the, what's it called, bait and switch, but also have Eager Edge. Now, Eager Edge is just, it's always on kind of like the more kind of, I'd say, smaller sort of weapons. I don't know if you'd say smaller, but the kind of weaker sort of weapons. But this is at least a DPS bit of a machine. These sorts of vortex frames, they've always actually been really, really sweet when it came to damage. So this might be actually really, really worth it. Now I can kill this freaking stupid ass thing. Can we get rid of all these guys over here? What the hell? Well, as I said, bait and switch is gonna actually be really, really nice when it comes just to damage and everything. Now I just want to kind of just stun this guy. Yo guys, can I stun this stupid overload job? It'll come back to me. God damn. But if you get a knife in and then do this sort of thing, you'll see the damage is definitely going to be there. This is, of course, going to be a champion that you can absolutely burst. I do have the chain reaction on too, so you can kind of sometimes see a little bit of I say like a little bit of an elemental explosion. It's not exactly as nice as other ones. I mean, stasis chain reaction isn't that great. So Eager Edge is probably what a lot of people will go for, but it's still actually a really nice sort of what's called weapon with the chain reaction. As I said, when you kind of get the damage going in, it can be really, really nice. Now, guys, can we get rid of the shields? I wonder if these guys know how to do the strike. Screw it. It's gonna double up. We're gonna just freaking double up. But yeah, as I said, just get your kind of bait and switch going like this, and then all of a sudden you can just start absolutely shredding something. You can see the damage is just gonna be there. As I said, this sword, the Slammer, especially because it is adept and everything, it's just gonna be so nice when it comes to PvE. I know people will probably have already swords they kind of go in with. Yeah, the other half and everything like that. I know they're all craftable too, so people would rather those Eager Edge. But as I said, they don't have as much power, really, as much as these ones do now, buddy. Take this. Jug it at him. No, not the one who has no shield. Oh my god, we're just gonna have to try and kill him normally. Guys, can we do this properly? Here, take it. Chuck it at the guy with the shield. And there we go in. Look at that. And there's the damage. Oh, I got absolutely shredded. That is the one thing with freaking swords. When you're in damage sort of environments, I should have my Banner of War kind of product. That's why I went on with Titan. But that's the kind of problem with going in with swords sometimes PvE is that you can't get absolutely murked up close if you get some big ass bosses. Like this is what I mean when you get this kind of going. If I get up here and get my banner of war kind of going on this guy, give me a banner of war, please. Thank you. We'll kill this guy as well. Kind of get it going. And I don't know if I'm the only one using it, but you can kind of see with the banner of war, you can get the damage definitely going against this sort of guy. I'm not going to go up and kill this guy. With banner of war, it's going to be really easy to kind of proc PvE and everything, especially a lot of builds kind of blend into it. So to get this, of course, with the eager edge and everything, instead of having to use that other half and everything, it's going to be really, really nice. As I said, oh, hit this guy and there's a bait and switch going. Look at that. It's absolutely freaking annihilated. So this is a good chance that it will actually kind of make swords somewhat viable when it comes to PvE. Maybe not endgame, but definitely a more kind of easier content where you can just absolutely blast things with a sword and everything like that. As I said, it's gonna be really, really sweet to get your hands on. I mean, you can get the normal version too. I know I'm using the adept and all that, but this is the nightfall, as I said. So if you want to get the normal one, you got to complete a couple of these, get some random drops. They kind of focus them, but I will say that the freaking orangey drop for the normal version is so bad. That's why I did a GM. I was just like, I might as well guarantee an adept. Now, I know people are probably going to hit me with the fact that this is a sword and whatnot. And they're going to be like, yeah, I can have a rocket launcher for GPS and everything. It's not always just about DPS. Sometimes it's about getting around the map quick, and that's what the eager edge will get you. But of course, when it comes to DPS and everything, sometimes it's better off in certain like raid events or whatever. Sometimes you are better off to use a sword. I mean, if you ever think of the Crown of Sorrow, I think it was the room where it had the Marauders and stuff. Swords did way more damage than any sort of rock and everything good. And as I said, sometimes raid bosses just take more damage from swords, and that's why it can be really dope to kind of get some good sort of DPS swords and everything like that. Now, of course, ammo is legit being a BE because I can't find any, but as I said, against those sorts of champs and everything, as soon as you stun them, you can just get that bait and switch going, which will do so much freaking damage. Of course, I understand it's kind of risky to kind of run at people, especially if you're in a GM. But I will still say that the sword, especially because it has the eager edge, it will be really, really kind of nice to kind of spam out and get the sword kind of going. As I said, it's just a really unique sort of sword. We might get more in the future that are like this with bait and switch, but I mean, this sword just feels like it's going to be an absolute freaking blast to kind of go in with. Even if it's just eager edge with the Beyblade sort of motion, PvP, that would be so much freaking fun. And then chain reaction on top of that as well if you want to get that. I just think if anything, it's not only just going to be really nice for DPS, it's going to be a super fun weapon to use. But as I said, it's not just, of course, the bait and switch that's going to be nice. And it will, of course, be able to kind of go in like this. Oh my god, I'm getting blasted. But it will be, of course, able to go in of itself. Because I do have chain reaction on, so you can kind of see. I can slice and dice a little bit, and you can see all the explosions with stasis stuff. Especially if there's going to be stasis kind of surges and everything on. Which I think this strike actually might. But yeah, when it comes to this crowd control too, it's going to be just so nice. It's got the chain reaction with, of course, the spinning. I mean, it's just got everything going to go for it. It's got the DPS. It's got the freaking fun in terms of what's called eager edge and everything. It's, of course, got the crowd control sort of going for it as well. It just basically has everything you kind of want in a vortex frame. That's why this is legit. Probably the best vortex frame you can get your hands on right now. I mean, there is some other ones in the game, so you can definitely go in with them. But for the most part, this definitely is going to have way more use cases for it than, of course, the other vortexes you kind of go in with. Now, do not blast me. But yeah, as I said, against the champs is where we're going to see the benefits. There usually is champs here in the GM. I don't know if there is in the freaking standard, but as I said, when it comes to this weapon, it is just really nice. Now, we're actually going to kind of get it going here. Pop it like a talk with the sword, and then we're just going to swing in and annihilate everything. Oh, with the freaking banner war and the body enhancements, it's just, oh, it feels so freaking juicy to kind of go in with. It's just so good. Of course, the nightfall we get, though, is going to be the one where she's floating in the freaking air, so we don't know if we'll be able to really hit her. Hey, yo. Oh, don't kill me. Yeah, I can't really get the vortex going when she's in midair, which kind of sucks. But as I said, it's still going to be a really nice sword against other sorts of bosses, as I said. There is definitely some times where, oh my god, buddy. Oh, the bait and switch. Does bait and switch actually work with a freaking plain ass sword without any ammo? That would actually be really interesting. Imagine 30% more. But that is going to be, of course, it for the nightfall and everything. As I said, this is how you're going to be able to obtain it yourself if you want, of course, get yourself some rolls of the slammer. It is either doing this nightfall, or I think you can do the guardian gains one, but as I said, corrupted one is definitely easier for me. We got silver. This sort of strike and everything, this is where you are going to get it from. I got a positive outlook, of course. It is going to be pure RNG if you do the normal version, so do not think that just doing a normal nightfall will give you like a ton of rolls or anything like that. You got to definitely grind out, but it is definitely worth it because it legit ticks all the boxes for a freaking sick ass sword. Alrighty, just before we end it, I kind of wanted to showcase something that I found actually kind of interesting. I only kind of figured out at the end there, but if you go in with this sword, with a base sword, you can see 10k. If we have the bait and switch kind of going, you will actually see that this will do more damage. It gets its extra damage increase even though there is nothing in the sword. Honestly, that's pretty interesting. Now, I don't know how effective it's really going to be when it comes to like endgame or whatnot and everything, but it is still pretty funny that you can basically kind of get this going with no ammo. Now, of course, I get freaking ammo now, so if I just slice and dice my way out of here. But it is just really interesting now with the bait and switch. But it can be really interesting when it comes to bait and switch in terms of damage and everything. You can see it's going to do absolute work for you, so I definitely will say, if anything, guys, bait and switch on this is just going to be so much kind of fun to go in with, because you can see it can just start ramping up damage even without freaking ammo. Well, that is it for me. Of course, the slammer sword itself. This is the adept version because I wanted to kind of guarantee myself a roll. But of course, you can do normal nightfall, get yourself some normal rolls and everything. It will perform somewhat the same, just a couple of different, like, in terms of mods and whatnot. But for the most part, the slammer, this is just, it's definitely worth getting. As I said, this weapon, it's gonna be an absolute banger about PvE, and of course, I could say PvP as well. When you get the eager edge, it could be really, really sweet to kind of just slide on in, especially because with like the other half and everything, when you have eager edge, you can only get one at a time. If teams are grouped up and you just freaking send it with the eager edge on this, you could absolutely wipe squads out of it. So yeah, I do think both PvP, PvE would be nice to get rolls. But PvE, of course, is where this thing's going to shine. I mean, it's got all the rolls for it. Chain reaction, bait and switch, of course, it's going to be insane. You can kind of see, even with like a swordless sword with no ammo, you can still get that bait and switch kind of procced and everything, which is just really interesting to me. Because as I said, you never really have like weapons where you have no ammo with bait and switch, because obviously if it's a rocket launcher or the grenade launchers, if you have no ammo, you're not shooting. But it is really interesting to see that the sword actually does ramp up a little bit of damage. Maybe throw on the biotic enhancements, of course, Banner of War. You might be able to do some work even with no freaking ammo on this with bait and switch. So yeah, I do think overall the slammer, it's definitely worth getting some rolls on. As I said, eager edge is what a lot of people kind of go for in terms of fun, and especially when it comes to crowd control, you got chain reaction. But bait and switch on this thing as well is just really, really dope. So I just think it's such an uber interesting sort of weapon that it's worth getting some rolls of, even if you want to just leave it in the vault, because I know swords aren't exactly the meta right now, but sometimes there is certain events where swords are just insane, or else if you're going to be popping it into sitting in a wall of radiance, of course, it's going to be nutty as well. So yeah, overall, the slammer adept, or the slammer itself, 100% worth getting some rolls of this. The bait and switch, and of course, chain reaction, eager edge. It's just going to be so much fun. It's going to win really, really well PvE. But regardless, if you like the video, show us a like, and we see more content, subscribe, fantastic day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next collective in the next one.